Okay, I think we are live. Greetings, everyone. Conversation with Tony Mobley. I am on with my special guest, Daria Musk, who I have to say, has been very patient with us tonight. We have
I
had a few
know.
bumps and bruises on in trying to have this conversation. This is episode 42. Why are we here? We're here because life has provided me the opportunity to have real conversation with real people. First, I want to thank my guest, Mr. Chris Fenwick, for our conversation last Wednesday. I want to thank the team behind Conversation with Tony Mobley. They earned their overtime pay today. So we are here to have real conversations. We hope to help others with these conversations, but I need your help. And I want you to register, please register on Conversation with Tony Mobley for our Mukana chat. There we have there we will have an opportunity for you to ask your questions and get your questions voted up or down. If you like this or past conversations, we ask that you subscribe and like Conversations with Tony Mobley on YouTube. And so, if you like this conversation, and I'm sure you will, it'll be a brief one, but I hope that you will enjoy it. Set the bell for all notifications and be reminded of upcoming conversation. And so, our first question is to Miss Daria Musk. Who is Daria Musk?
Oh man. Hi to everyone watching. I can't see the chat, but I love you and I'm happy to see you and I'm trusting Tony and his team will push all of your questions to me. We're this is gonna be fun because we're all punchy already. Who is Daria Musk is a trippy question, man. I am an earthling. I am a girl. I am a musician. I'm a filmmaker. I am the founder of a production studio that I am very proud of called Unlabeled Studio, where we make my music and my parents' amazing music and my brother's incredible work, his music and podcasts and all sorts of incredible stuff that he's working on. Yeah, and I do stuff like this, and that's what I do. I sing. Yes.
And I want to say thank you so much for being here tonight. And
Of
extra
course.
thanks for I know that you're not supposed to talk about things when they go wrong, but I
Oh
just
no,
feel
it's fun.
I feel like we need to talk about the things. So we were ready to go
We
and
were.
everything was fine.
We
And
were
then when we
early.
got ready to launch the show, it didn't work. So uh, Doria's been extremely patient, and I'm hoping, praying that after some time, she will allow us to have an additional conversation because this is going to be a very brief conversation tonight.
We can well if it's going well and we're getting questions, we can keep going. Don't worry about that. I sympathize. You know, this is sometimes I feel like we're still in like the stone ages of live streaming and you know, it's exciting to be on the forefront of that, but sometimes it's frustrating. And I'm sure everybody who does it knows that you can have exactly what happened tonight. Like you can work so hard and think that everything's perfect, and then something will inevitably go wrong at the last minute. Once I did a concert that was actually sponsored by Verizon, I think it was. It was like a pretty big deal, and it was on the rooftop of a big skyscraper in New York City. And they had their whole team come and set up the thing, but they'd never done anything like that before. And I didn't know that they plugged all of the equipment into like one outlet. And so I felt like a total like rock star, but like I played my first chord and all the power went out. So it happens, you know, it's okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask, but my next question is, what lessons have you learned from your parents that you're using today, especially with this conversation that we're having today?
I feel like this is like already gonna go down as like an epic conversation because this is just so. I mean, isn't your whole thing like having real conversation? Like this is real. This is the real stuff. This is not like prim and proper at this point. We're legit like punchy now. My parents are a huge part of my world. They're some of my best friends in the universe, and also colleagues, and like we're, it's quite a thing to grow up and then get to be partners and friends with your parents, and it's a really beautiful blessing, and I wish that opportunity for more people. It's really beautiful to be connected, and like I know that, if reincarnation or something like that is a thing, we've come back as friends, and like we're just soulmates, me and my family. And so my parents are both brilliant musicians. My pop is someone probably a lot of people watching know is Ram. And so we write all of our music together and do all sorts of stuff together. And it's such a beautiful honor and such a blessing. He's a true genius, in my opinion. He's a remarkable person. And I learn from him every day. And then my mom is an absolutely brilliant musician. She's a Juilliard trained classical flutist who like won lots of awards and first chaired in different orchestras. And so it's cool because I have this sort of rebellion and rock and roll from my pop side, and then sort of like classical discipline and training from my mom. I am not a classical musician, but the idea of aiming for excellence and putting the real dedication into the craft that someone from that world would take, and then just the pure joy of creating and connecting with this beautiful, huge, ephemeral thing that is music that we get to tap into when we write is what I really get from Ram, from my pop. He's a composer, and he is always composing, and he says that the music is kind of this unending stream, and you can turn your faucet on and off, but it never goes anywhere. It's always there for you. And so yeah, there's a million billion different lessons. If you want to get into anything specific, if anyone in the chat wants to know any specific wisdoms from my parents, they have dropped many on me over the years.
So it's kind of funny going through these questions now. So what is it like having a mother who is a musician and an educator?
Oh, that's a great question. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, my mom has been an educator for most of her life, both in music and just the humanities in general. And she instilled in me and my brothers a real love of learning, and that's something that's carried me through, even through the sort of wonky, like traditional public school system of America and stuff like that, where sometimes I feel like those guys do everything they can to take the fun out of learning. And I have always been driven by a kind of insatiable curiosity about the world. And I think that really comes from my mom asking deep questions. And I think that one of the things she teaches so brilliantly to her students when she was still in the classroom, and then to her kids and really anyone that she meets, is the idea of being, I don't know, an engaged and curious mind who is excited about synthesizing information from different places and then, bringing them together and sort of critically thinking for yourself. And I think that's sort of the crux of where creativity comes from, when you can pull like, oh, this thing I learned about physics the other day because I was reading, about string theory or whatever, and then pull, the new scale that Pop taught me the day before, and suddenly you have a song that's about like the universe expanding and rolling that into some sort of love story at the same time, and you end up with things that feel weird and uniquely, from your perspective. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm hearing Alex Lindsay talking about project-based learning in
Yeah.
terms of, because you had all of these different things. You had the richness of this humanities driven home
Yeah.
that you could draw on, as well as the social interaction with your typical school situation, and that makes for an enriched environment. And so
Yeah.
I just
I'm
wish that
I'm
more
laughing.
people.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because like my social life was pretty much non-existent. So it wasn't like super social. I was just talking about this with one of my dearest friends and mentors today. I think he's watching. Hi, Bill, I love you. About being the totally not cool kids who were like eating lunch in the for me at least eating lunch in like the choir practice rooms so I could avoid having to like find a table to sit at where anyone would let me sit. That kind of thing. Not to interrupt you, but yes.
Well, that thank you for sharing that story.
Of
Um,
course.
and so I'm going to skip around a little bit. So,
Absolutely. We can
what
just
is online? What is an online engagement artist?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't heard that phrase before, but I mean, I think that that's an accurate description of the kind of stuff I've been focusing on for a while now. What did you say? An online engagement artist? That's cool.
Hmm.
I think, the idea of not just broadcasting out one channel, but communicating and really, when possible, seeing face to face the people who are there, who are, in my experience, the kinds of concerts that I've done, the ability to look people in the eye when they're in different countries and they're thousands of miles away from you in different time zones, and then sing them a song and then see them reacting and see how that's affecting them all the way in their world, and it's kind of a mind-blowing experience. And I know that we're all used to the internet and this is a thing that we do every day, but it's never lost on me how magical it is. Everybody's walking around with all the information that all of humanity has collected in their pockets every day, all the time, and I just never stop thinking about how remarkable that is. And so the fact that I could sing a lullaby for somebody in like Oslo when it's night for them and it's whatever time it is for me, and then at the same time the sun is coming up for somebody else, that is never lost on me how magical that is, and I'm grateful to be alive in a time when that's possible. So engagement for me is it's the sort of joy and the juice of the whole thing.
Yeah, it's amazing, and who would have thought? I'm having a conversation with you, and you're in Connecticut, I'm in Atlanta.
Cool.
I know that there are people who are in Australia who are watching our conversation tonight. I know there are people in Great Britain that are watching our conversation tonight. I know that I have a few fans in Cape Town, South Africa, and
Nice.
in the Philippines, and
Woo-woo.
so there is no telling who is watching this
Yeah.
this online engagement that we're having right now.
Yeah.
And so again, I want to thank you so much for being patient and
Cool.
allowing us to have this conversation. Can we talk about how you got started as a music producer?
Sure. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I feel like I'm still a baby when it comes to music production. I rely a lot on Ram and on my brother Sage, who's turned himself into an absolutely brilliant music producer. I mean, I can cut demos and do stuff like that, but it's like I said before, such a joy to get to work with them. I mean, where the production side comes in for me more is actually on the filmmaking side. When it comes to what the work that I do with filmmaking, which is all connected with my music. It all starts with the music. That's the through line of everything in my world. That's just yet another place where I'm like totally hands on with every little piece. So I love filming and I love editing and I love putting all the pieces together and directing and that stuff. But yeah, I think that's another aspect of what's so amazing about this time, right? That anything that you're interested in, anything that you want to learn, anything you want to get good at, I'm a proud graduate of YouTube University. You never have to stop learning, and so yeah, I'm constantly trying to level up on my music production. I actually just took a class like a few months ago to level up my skills in Logic, and learn all the stuff you want to learn.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. I'm going to ask if you don't mind, would you share a song with us?
Oh yeah. Sure, sure, sure. That's what I do. It's my favorite. Everybody who knows me knows you have to ask me to stop. You don't have to ask me to start. It's the best part of anything. Okay. Tell me how you're feeling though. Or like, I don't know if you can see the chat. Tell me how people are feeling in chat. Do we want to go like kind of chill? It's gotten kind of late. Do you guys want like something sort of sweet and lovely and gentle? Or do you want to like, oh, we had technical problems and we want to like rock out and get a little of that?
What about Lyft?
Oh, that's not one of the ones I planned.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Well,
giving you two vibes. We can go rebellious or we can go chill.
let's let's
And we
let's
have
do
time
chill
for two,
first.
so let's do
Let's
chill.
do chill.
Yeah. We need to take a nice deep breath. You got it. All right. And you have to let me know how things are going in the chat for everybody.
Okay.
There we go. This is called Down to Earth. I got my head up in the clouds, but you're down to earth. I'm feeling something deeper than I expected for what it's worth. Whoa, didn't notice that as I've been moving myself through this world. I've been holding my breath until I met you and I exhale. And hey, between you and me, I think we got the best of both worlds. And hey, between you and me, I think we got the best of both worlds. Yeah. I thought I knew what you would be, but that's just me, I overthought. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it's better than I imagined or understood. Oh, talking like this, to be honest, feels like breathing some rare air. Kinda elevated, hyper present of you, so aware that hate between you and me, I think we got the best of both worlds. And hate between you and me, I think we got the best of both worlds. Da 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 no, da 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 no, da 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 do 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 do. Hey da no.
Wow.
I got my head up in the clouds, but you're down to earth.
Wow. Thank you, Daria. Wow.
You're
Wow. Wow.
welcome.
Wow. Wow. I'm doing our clapping because
Oh, you're so
thank you.
sweet.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Of
Wow.
course.
We have a question from
Oh,
Eric
please.
Potter.
I'm like tempted to pull up the YouTube so I can see. I don't want to like mess up my Wi-Fi, but I sort of want to see the chat, guys.
Eric is asking, he said, which
Yes.
of your guitars do you like the most and why?
Oh my God, what a question. What a question. So this is a cool story. So Taylor Guitars, this company, is I think the greatest guitar maker in the universe, and they're a beautiful company and made up of beautiful people, and I'm blessed to know a lot of them. Now I grew up like coveting Taylors. I was like, how many little coffee shop gigs do I have to play? How much allowance do I have to save? How many babysitting gigs do I have to do like to be able to afford a Taylor? And so I was like very singularly focused. And you know how people talk about, being able to manifest things that you're dreaming of and that you're focusing on. Well, beware, because sometimes if you really want something, it takes a while and then it shows up in abundance. So I'm
Oh,
very
wow.
lucky. But over the years, I've now, for a few years now, been a sponsored Taylor artist, and I am, involved with the company, and I love them dearly, like I said. And so part of the fun of that is we actually make a lot of cool content together, a lot of videos and stuff like that. And so I now live in what is practically like a Taylor Guitars like shop where there's new guitars like coming and going all the time, and it's such a joy to play all of these incredibly beautiful instruments. And so there's kind of always a new answer to that. But the answer right now is this guy. Oh, look at this. Can you believe this thing?
Oh, wow.
She's just so beautiful. This is a brand new model. Now I'm going to be like, this is, what is this one called? This is the Taylor Guitars 611E. It's a brand new quilted maple, like the prettiest thing in the universe. It looks like velvet. But it's a shorter scale guitar than what you normally find, and I'm quite short, and so it's a very comfortable size for me, and it just plays like a dream. Even though it's acoustic, I don't know if there's any guitar players watching, but it handles more like an electric almost. The guitar player speak, the action, the distance between the strings and the neck is incredibly low, and so it makes playing complicated chords just like feels like butter. It's just awesome. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
How many do you have near you right now?
Oh, man, I mean the numbers are bonkers. I feel bad because please remember it was not that many years ago when I was like praying for one, right? But I mean I think just if I look around, I can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I mean, there's like 15 just in this room, and then I have more upstairs in my bedroom. Yeah, so it is not lost on me. I am a very lucky girl, and I'm very grateful. And not all of these are like mine, like I said, they kind of come and visit me for a while, and they come in and out. But it's a beautiful gift, and something that I'm deeply grateful for, and it is endlessly inspiring and super duper fun. It's cool because the guitars are so magical in and of themselves, different combinations of wood, different shapes, different sounds. They inspire different songs and different things. And sometimes you pick up a guitar and there's just like a song waiting inside it. Like it's just waiting there for you to discover it. So it's really a dream to get to try all sorts of different things.
That's fantastic. We have a question from Dr. Chris Clark.
Hello,
He
doctor.
says, Daria, please tell us about your first memorable music gig.
Oh my God. Okay. My first memorable music gig. Um, okay, there's a couple of things that come to mind. The first, it wasn't really a gig because like I didn't get paid, but a lot of gigs are not paid. But the first time I ever played a song in front of a group of people that was more than just like a couple of friends or my family, was in high school. Like a lot of people, and there was some sort of charity concert or something. And it was the first time I played an original song in front of a group of people, and it was like in the auditorium. And that moment is seared in my memory. That was like this is what I have to do. I have to do whatever I have to do to figure out how to do this more, how to do this for the rest of my life kind of a moment. It was an out of body experience. And like I said, being a decidedly uncool kid in school, that was one of the first moments where like the next day in school, people were like, did you really write that? You know? And so I suddenly it was this sense of self that I hadn't quite discovered my place in the world maybe until that moment. And so that's definitely in my head. And then God, there's so many funny things because again, coming from a musical family, even though we're living in this internet age with all the streaming stuff, I came to that a little later. And so I cut my teeth like playing coffee shops and like anywhere anyone would have me. And that's really good practice, especially when you're new and you're making mistakes and you need to kind of work up those muscles, you know, singing over cappuccino machines, squealing louder than you, and having your parents sneak you into bars where there are open mics when you're not old enough to be there. You know, like, these are very character building experiences that then later, you know, when you're on a rooftop and all the power goes out, you don't feel as freaked out. You kind of have some experience under your belt. You know what you want to do, but yeah, I think that high school gig, and then maybe one of the other first ones. There was a particular coffee shop that I loved. I don't know if anyone knows Connecticut, in South Norwalk, Connecticut, called Caffeine, that would have me for like a standing gig, and it was at the very, very beginning of everything for me, and it was so fun to just sit there and play and see if I could maybe get anyone to stop as they were like picking up their coffee, and I would play Blackbird, and I would always mess it up. Blackbird was my nemesis. It was, now I love playing it, but like, oh, Blackbird used to betray me every time. I used to freak. Wait, now I have to prove to myself that I can do it. You want a little Blackbird? Blackbird
Yes,
singing in the
please.
dead of
Thank you.
night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You're only waiting for this moment to rise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see all your life. You're only waiting for this moment to be free. And then, oh God, it goes, yeah. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly, into the light of dark black night.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Wow. I don't know if we're going to have time for you to answer this question, but
Oh, we can, now that we're started, you know, I'm just gonna keep going. Don't worry about the time. Don't worry about it.
can you share
We
some of
waited long
your,
enough. We might as well enjoy the spoils of all of our efforts, right? Like,
can you share some of your experiences with TED Talk?
oh yeah. I love the TED folks. I've done 3, which is really fun, and that was another one of those like. I know you know, they're not quite as like talked about and ubiquitous as they were a few years ago. There was a moment when it was like everyone was like, "Did you watch the latest TED Talk?" And like, "Oh, so and so did a TED Talk," and I think it was another one of those funny manifesting moments where I like got it in my mind for some reason that like I want to give a TED Talk one day, even though I had no idea what it would be about, you know. And then I had my whole break with playing online and all of that stuff. And suddenly, I didn't seek it out, but suddenly, you know, someone from one of the TEDx's reached out to me on TEDx Rainier, which is in Seattle. It was an awesome crew of people. And so I went out and did that one. And then the TED Global people saw that. And so then they invited me to the Big TED. And I got to go to Scotland and do the Big TED on the circular red rug like everybody dreams of, and got a standing O. And that was like the coolest thing. And then I did another one just a couple of years ago. So it's really cool because before that I had never aspired to like talk. I mean, I'm clearly a talker, but I never aspired to do talks, you know, for groups of people. I didn't really even know that was much of a thing, to be perfectly honest. Now I know there's speaking tour circuits and all of that stuff, but I didn't know that back then. And so the first talk, I just did it, and it was so much fun. And then when I got invited to the Big TED, I was like, I got to do something special. This is different. And Ram and I conceptualized the idea of scoring the entire talk. And because music is at the heart of everything that we do, and like I said, that's what we do with our films and all of our videos. So we treated TED as this scored live experience. And it was really clever because it was also a way for me to know I was on time and that I wasn't going to like go over my allotted time. So that was cool. But it was such a wild thing to we had to if you watch it, if you go and watch it, you can see it on my website, which I don't know if it's up or linked somewhere if anyone can do it's unlabeled.studio is my website. That's my
Say it one more
company.
time. Say it one more time.
Unlabeled, like strip away all those labels. um Unlabeled.studio is where you can see all this stuff and see a bunch of my other things. And so we had to hide little moments of like ear candy in the score that I would know as cues to know that I was on pace. And to everyone else, I mean, I had people coming up to me afterward, like, how did you do that? I was like, a magic trick, because I was live. I was speaking live, but somehow the video and the music behind me, everything I was saying was linking. I would say a quote and it would pop up, but nobody was cueing it. It was a video that was just playing through. No clicker, no slides. Alex would be proud. Alex Lindsay, if he's watching, no slideshows for me. It was a video playthrough, and it was such a cool thing to figure out how to do. And now that's like the only way that I do talks, unless it's something casual like this, like a chat. It's wild and fun and hard, and I love that we're kind of the only people that do it, and it's a real blast. It makes a talk into a musical experience for me.
Yeah, and I had an opportunity to watch it, and it is absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And it's I've watched, I was a big fan of yours when I first heard you on Office Hours.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I've been following and I've been listening to, the music from the remotes and, featuring you and I just play it over and over again. And
So sweet.
I'm looking at Apple Music, trying to find your music on Apple
It's coming,
Music,
man.
and
It's coming. There's an EP coming and an album coming on the heels of that. Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you again so much for. I'm gonna ask you to share another song, but not
Yeah.
right away. We're
Okay.
gonna we're
We can
gonna
talk.
we have a question from Clylock Miguel Lopez Waterman, and his
Awesome.
question is, how do you gauge success? You are so talented,
Oh,
but
thank
I know that there hard, also comes from hard work and tenacious refining how 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 what cut off. Oh my goodness.
tenacity.
How to decide something is successful.
And what was his name?
Tlaloc Lopez Wardham. He's actually my show producer, but he was
Oh,
not
what's
available
up? What's
tonight.
up, Lilac? What's up? Thank you for your questions. So kind. So how do I define success? And he knows that it comes from more than just talent. And yes, so I mean, if that's the gist of it, obviously
Yes.
totally agree with you. And so, well, I'll start with the second part first. The yes, tenacity, perseverance. I perseverance is my favorite word. I think it's been probably the most defining thing in my life. The through line is this concept of just persevering and trusting and believing and sticking with it. And if you think I'm talented, you should have seen me when I started. I was no child prodigy. I promise you that. I could not sing in tune. It was not a good sound. And oh my God, like, my guitar playing at the beginning, it was all a lot of stick to itiveness and believing and practicing, and again, I get that from my mom, just like practice, 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 and trust that it will come, and, And it does, and I've had amazing teachers, beyond my parents. An incredible vocal coach who I found eventually, and really helped me change my relationship with my body and my voice, and taught me all about my instrument, and understanding how to find your sound as a singer, not what you think sounds pretty, but like what sounds like you, is a real breakthrough when you get to that place. And that takes a lot of bravery, and just stripping away of any affectation and any fear and any worry. It's all very psychological and heady and fun and spiritual and beautiful. And then how do I define success? I think that the definition of success for me is always evolving, and lately in my life it's been evolving at a really rapid pace. I think one of the thrills of my life right now is discovering that, like, oh, that's not the finish line. There's so much more I want to do, and then there's so much more I want to do beyond that. And whenever you can expand your concept of who you think you are and why you think you're here in this universe and on this planet, that's a good day. That's really fun. And so I'm just constantly trying to, like, follow the breadcrumbs. And I think personally for me, if I show up every day with joy and presence and curiosity and the willingness to just, like, put my whole heart into whatever's on my plate and whatever comes to me that day, I think that's success right there. And that seems to keep the wheels of innovation and momentum and serendipity turning. It might be cliche, but I noticed that things really keep showing up. When I show up, other little gems from the universe and people that you've been wanting to meet, and opportunities that you've been wanting to have, they show up, when you show up. So, yeah. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah. Clara, thank you for the question.
Yes, thank you.
Very, very cool. There is, this is not a question that I had prepared to ask you tonight, but I'm hearing from you that there is a connection to a higher power. And, if you feel like talking about that, it's okay. If not, then that's okay
Sure.
too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, it's so funny. Again, was talking to my dear friend and mentor Bill and Ram about this today. When I just told them, I was just recounting this story today. When I was really little, I remembered there was some form in school that they asked us to fill out, like really little, like, I don't know, first grade or something. And it had on it religion. I don't know why they're giving like a census to little kids, but that's sort of what I remember in my head. And you put down like race and religion, and I remembered my mom told me for race to put down human because we're the human race. But I came home and I said, what religion are we? Like, what is this religion thing I hear people talking about? And Ram, my pop, told me the etymology of the word religion is just actually means what you practice. And so we practice music. So put down musician. So on every form that I've ever gotten for the rest of my life, if it says religion, I put down musician. And because that is what I practice. And I do feel a deep connection to something greater than myself when I'm in conversation with the music, and really any creative pursuit, and in lots of different things. I can also just feel it in nature and in meditation. But my favorite flavor of it is when I'm singing, and especially when I'm writing and when I'm performing. When you disappear and something else takes over, I think that there are millions of different words for that same thing. And some people call it God or the universe, or, all sorts of specific God names throughout the thousands and thousands of years of human history. But I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. And so that's my version of how I connect with that thing, through this sort of cathedral of what music is. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Of
Great answer.
course.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask you to sing another song,
Sure.
and and while we're doing that, a lot of the questions got deleted somehow. So I'm going to
Of
ask.
course they did. That's so on
I'm
brand for tonight.
I'm going to ask Daria to give us another 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
you
Oh,
want your
absolutely.
question, if you want your questions to come in, I mean, if you want to get your question answered, please put it in Mukana and
Ask
it
me,
will
babe.
show up as highly voted. And I will get a chance to ask Daria that question before we end for tonight. So now is your chance while she's playing.
All right. Yeah, ask me stuff, guys. And thank you for watching. And I'm sorry I can't see all of your comments going by in the moment. But I am very
William Bill Thompson says, beautiful job, Daria.
I love you, Bill. Thank you.
And we have and I said Eric Potter, and it's Ike Potter. Apologize, Ike.
Hi. Hi,
Oh,
Potters.
okay. All right.
Okay. Well, if you want another song, I'm happy to do that.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, okay, so this one will be fun for the theme of the night because sometimes when things don't go exactly the way you want, you kind of like gotta get that frustration out somehow. So this is a brand new song that I'm having a lot of fun with lately. It's called Boy King, and so you can
Brand new.
brand new song. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. What made you think that you could get away with talking to everyone like we all work for you? Who appointed you boy king, boy king? Using the world like a trash can. Don't think I didn't see you throw it out of the window and leave a mess for your mother too. And your blind spots are big enough to fit all of Connecticut. I know it's strange to ask for a break from someone you're not even dating, but baby, I need space from your face and the things that you say until you care a little more about how it affects people who get within a 5-mile radius. It's strange. I think you'd rather be a nice person than a boy king. Boy king, reigning over nothing, reigning over nothing. Boy king, reigning over nothing, reigning over nothing, reigning over nothing. Don't it get boring, so certain of knowing that you are always right, no room for learning? Weren't you told that's how you get old? I think as a trio, your id and your ego evicted their super best friend. He packed any semblance of self-awareness and left them to trash what was left. And your poor house is going up in flames, with only you to blame. I have to admit I watched in disbelief as you lorded over the ashes, unleashed your dragons. I mean, what did I ever do to you? You're the one who abandoned me, so feel free to continue. You're right over nothing. Just don't expect to see me about your storms, and your black cloud can't touch me now. I hope you use all of your money for a big enough boat for the flood that is coming, boy king. Boy king, reigning over nothing, reigning over nothing. Boy king, reigning over nothing, reigning over nothing, reigning over nothing. Boy king.
Wow. You heard it first here on
Yes.
Conversation with Tony Mobley, Boykin, new premiere song
Yes.
by Daria Musk.
I don't know
Thank
if
you
there's
so
any
much for.
songwriters watching. Sometimes you like write an angry song, and by the end of it, you're just like laughing and having so much fun. You're not angry anymore.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat, and there's so much going on in the chat.
Oh,
There's
tell me, tell me, tell me. I'm jealous. I can't
Beauty
sleep.
Bubble is asking
Beauty
about,
bubble.
can you please play Ghosts?
Mm,
Um,
you're so
that's
sweet. I love this. People know the songs. It's so cool. I haven't played Ghost in a couple of weeks. I think next time.
next time. That's right. There's going to
Next
be
time,
part
beauty.
two.
But I love that. Yeah, we're like bonded forever through this now. This is hilarious. We have to do part two. It'll be great.
Okay, we will do
Yes, but
part
thank
two.
you, Beauty Bubble, for knowing Ghost. And I'm so glad that you like it.
And William said, boom, boom.
Boom.
Yeah.
I think there's some of my favorite lyrics I've ever written that just like came just like channeled through the like needing to get stuff off your chest kind of moment. I think my favorite in the song is the because I know there's nerdy people watching. I know you're out there. This is if this is like a runoff from Alex's show. We got some smarties in the chat. So I think as a trio, your id and your ego evicted their super best friend. he packed any semblance of self-awareness and left them to trash what was left. I love that so much. I was like, yeah, they just like booted him out. Like, go. Yeah.
one of the questions is, how did you connect with Alex Lindsay?
Oh my God. Our buddy Alex, what a hero and a superhero that guy is. I just adore him, as I'm sure everybody here does. Alex and I connected through, when I first broke online and I started doing those kinds of concerts, the Hangout concerts on Google Plus and that whole thing. Then I started getting the opportunities to do bigger and bigger ones and do them on big stages and travel around the world and do them. And I'm pretty sure the first time that we worked together, it must have been like a Google thing. Like maybe they were putting it on and they hired Alex and his crew to do it. And so then we met on site doing the event that way. And then, God, I can't remember. I think we just became fast friends from that. And then it was like, this is the pro, this is the guy. I don't want to do this with anyone else ever. He makes you feel so safe and so taken care of. And there were, as we saw tonight, there were so many moving parts. And we were often, having to make sure we were getting different people, all these fans joining from all around the world and make sure their connections were good. And, especially when we were doing it on a big stage with a big screen to show people what we were doing. And we had an audience in front doing like hybrid events before that was a thing. So yeah, I met Alex just doing a lot of work together. And, I cherish his friendship and have learned so much from him over the years, and just think he is an endless fount of wisdom and a really, really good dude.
I have tons and tons of
Yeah,
questions
just
that
give
are
them to me.
left.
It's fine. We're just chilling now. What are we gonna do?
Well, I'm not going to. I am going to be respectful of your time.
Let's
I
let's
do
do
want to
let's
read a
do a
couple
rapid
comments.
fire. Like we could just pow 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 pow.
So William says again, Darius in the house, love that song.
Thanks, Bill.
Richard Bird says, thank you, Daria, for making time here.
Of
Thank you,
course,
Richard, for
Richard.
the question. I agree.
Yeah.
We are thankful for Daria making time here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Um, wow. So I'm going to skip to what's next for Daria Musk.
Okay. And then we can totally go like lightning round with the questions in the chat because I don't only want to leave those guys hanging. What's next for me? Actually, I can do a short answer for this. Something really cool that I can't tell you about yet. I'm gonna be all sneaky and say that you know I don't know if you guys know this, but I a few years ago I sort of coined the phrase artistpreneur, calling myself an artistpreneur. And to me that really just means like making what you love what you do and figuring out if there's a way to, be able to make your living doing that and make it what you get to spend all of your time on. But it's also taking the creativity of the art side and bringing it to the preneur side, where you make the idea of business and work and the grown-up-y things creative and fun for yourself. And suddenly, at least I found that they do become creative, that they don't feel different than the creative work that you do, and you asked earlier lessons from my parents. One of the things that my pop, that Ram's been saying recently all the time is it's all the same thing. Anything that you're putting your time into and your heart into, it's all got the muse, as he would say, in it. It's all the same thing. And so the art and the preneur become one thing. And so I'm working on some art that I'm really excited about. Like I said, new songs like that one. And I'm excited to put those things out. And there's also a pretty big preneur part that I'm very excited about too. And I hope to be able to tell you all about it real soon.
We will get the debriefing in
Oh
part two.
yes, I will be back for sure. For sure, for sure.
Um, how has the world changed since COVID-19? Before you even answer that question, I'm going to say anybody who does not know, Daria was doing streaming concerts prior to the
Yeah.
pandemic.
Yeah.
She was doing it. She was already doing it when the pandemic hit. So has it changed for you? Has has the
You
world
know,
changed since the pandemic?
for me, I mean, I thought you were asking me in general. I was like, well, yeah. Um, but it's funny for me. I felt like I was kind of weirdly well set up for being able to continue to do what I love during this time. And I was very, very grateful and very fortunate for that. The fact that, like I said, my nearest and dearest friends and family kind of already operate in a bit of a bubble in our collective studios that we have together, where we do all of our creative work. And I happen to live out in a beautiful bit of nature, and so I already had space and trees and air and my computer and my ability to play for people through the computer. And so that really saved me, I think, from the sort of whiplash that a lot of people experienced. And I'm grateful for that. I think it was really good for my mental health and for my heart to be able to continue to keep doing what I love. And it was also, great inspiration and a great time of reflection. I know for all of us, I mean, like everybody else, I learned how to bake bread and do all sorts of funny things like that. But I also was able to kind of come home to this first love that I had of doing live stream concerts and remember what I loved about it, and also remember what doesn't work well about it. And all those things I found really inspiring and really interesting. And yeah.
It's been an amazing journey just for me to watch the music that you were making and the things that you were doing before the pandemic, and I was just floored. And I wish we could share the music with the office hours remote, but we're not in a position
No,
to
it's
share
okay.
it
It's
tonight.
it's out there.
But it's virtual insanity. Look it up on YouTube or look it up at officehours.global.
We
Um,
have it.
oh, we have it.
I
All
think,
right. So
why
let's,
don't we let everybody just watch that online, since we're sort of I'd actually really love to answer any more questions if they're like piling
okay.
up in there. Yeah.
Okay. So,
I mean, shout
um,
out to the Office Hours band. For anybody watching who doesn't know, Alex Lindsay and his amazing global crew of brilliant friends and geniuses, like the people who are here right now, also have a band on the side, which is so adorable, and they're called the Remotes. And I was lucky enough to guest star as like lead vocalist on a song, and I sort of browbeat them into doing Jamiroquai's Virtual Insanity because I thought it was a really funny gag that we were all doing this online, and it was pretty virtual and pretty insane to
The
be
song
able
will
to
blow you
do.
away. The
And it
song will
was,
blow you away. I'm telling you, the
if
song
you
will
really
blow
want to
you
play it, you
away.
can. It's up to you. But let's do some questions too.
Um, let's all right. We have a few questions. So,
Okay,
what
great.
is your opinion on in-person versus hybrid events,
Mm.
and where are digital first events going?
Cool. Yeah. So I am very much in Alex's camp. If you guys know his opinions about these things, like I said, we did a lot of like kind of road work together, and I think we saw and experienced the same stuff, and both ended up independently with very similar feelings about the idea of in person, virtual, or digital, and then hybrid. And I like Tony was saying, like you were saying, I'm talking to them now. I I've done my fair share of really big hybrid events, but they're not hybrid in the way you would really think about it, because in those instances I would gather like a core group of fans who I was like, do you want to be in this special thing with me? And then I would tell them behind the scenes, I'm not like playing to you, I'm playing to the room, and you guys are like, you're kind of my backing band, like you're my backup dancers. And so that allowed me to focus on the people in front of me. And so what I mean when I say Alex and I are of one mind here is that I think the way he says it is that if you have a digital audience and an in-person audience, there's millions of years of human programming that's gonna make you want to focus on the people that are right in front of you. And suddenly your
Hmm.
attention is divided. And I found the one time we tried to do a true hybrid experience, it was like in Times Square. It was really cool. But my heart was split in two. Suddenly I had these people in front of me, and I had these people who I adored who had been like my day ones on the screen. And I only have two eyes and I don't know how to point them in two different directions. And I wanted everyone to feel loved, and I wanted everyone to feel that I was focusing on them. And it was impossible to do both at once. And I did my best to juggle it throughout that night. But I came out of there feeling the way Alex does, where like, probably better to do one at a time and really give everybody the love and attention that they deserve. So of course, there's nothing like playing in a room full of people and feeling that energy, but there's also nothing like playing for people who, like I said, are all over the world, to be able to tour the world in a night, to tour the world in one song, which is something that I feel like I've done. And like, I've said, to hear a global applause, like to hear people clapping on different continents all at once, I find both experiences deeply moving and really cool in different ways, And so I think it's what I would say to kind of answer your last part of your question is, I think that digital first is something that is becoming and really should be a part of like any artist's well balanced diet of stuff that you do. I think it's good for your soul. I think it's good for the people around there. You could get the biggest stadium in the world, and you're never going to be able to fit in it all the people that you could play for online. So to be able to give yourself a chance to play for the widest audience, and to give the widest audience possible a chance to hear you, I think that digital offers you something that is, like I said earlier, like truly magical. Kind of like, yeah, mind-blowingly different and special and magical. And I think that it's not at all like antithetical to doing in-person stuff either. I think the two can be very good friends and go hand in hand. Yeah. So I think, yeah, part of a well-balanced artistic diet, doing both.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a question from the chat, and it's
Right.
from Josh Kaufman. He
Hi,
says,
Josh.
what is your creative relationship with music or lyrical tropes? Do you avoid them or see them as challenges?
Does he mean tropes?
Tropes, yes.
Tropes?
Yep.
Okay. So
I'm
musical and
sorry.
no, it's okay. I'm with you. Lyrical and musical tropes friend or foe? Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay. I think, I think foe. I think, and if anyone's not quite tracking, I think what Josh is asking is, there are things that when you hear them, you go like, haven't I heard this before? And sometimes they pop up in certain styles of music more than others because those styles of music are based on the same like basic building blocks of matter. So you get like a great blues song, like every great blues song is built off of a similar chord progression because that's what makes it the blues. And even the story of a blues song is probably and probably should be like all the bad stuff that's ever happened to you, and your dog is gone and your wife left you, and like this is the stuff of a great blues song, and so that's great. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I think in trying to discover what on earth you're supposed to say as an artist, it is fun to try to break yourself out of those well worn paths that other people have done. And so some of the ways that I've done that for myself, one really cool thing is creating your own arrangements of stuff that, like, for example, on guitar, going by ear and creating arrangements of pieces that you love that don't have guitar in them will suddenly open up shapes that like most guitar books won't have in them, because now you're trying to do some weird thing from like an electronic track that you really love, and you're trying to figure out how to make that happen on guitar, and you're finding all sorts of cool patterns and shapes that you wouldn't learn in like a blues book or something like that. And then let's see, lyrically, I think that's really important too. I really, really love the way lyrics offer a window into somebody's heart and their life and their mind. And I think whether that's totally literal and you're like a diarist and you're talking about what's going on in your life in that moment, or if you're going total fantasy and like bonkers off the wall, like weirdo visions that you've got in your dreams or your head, whatever it is, I think as long as it's you and as long as it's original, I'm excited to hear that from anybody, because it's surprising and it's fun to be surprised. It's fun to hear something new. So, I always for myself try to, I think of it like zooming in, if that makes any sense. Like you could sort of start at like, oh, today was a weird day, but then you zoom in like, well, why was it weird day? And like, and you zoom until you're starting with like the way the condensation on the glass like dripped and made a weird pattern on the tablecloth, and it kind of looked like a country, and you wish you'd gone to that country. Like suddenly you're singing about really weird shit that like nobody else would come up with. So if you're a songwriter, Josh, and you're asking, like the zoom in trick always works for me, trying to like dive as deep in as I can go, or synthesizing like random stuff and pulling it together, kind of like what I was saying about my mom's teachings earlier. But I think breaking yourself out of those molds is always really fun. And then I take it to the extreme because like I said, I'm with some unbelievably brilliant musicians all day who have really eclectic styles of music. I think we cover the gamut, with everyone in the house here. And so I was also raised on a pretty steady diet of like prog rock and like all sorts of like weird stuff with lots of odd meters. And my patron saint is Dave Matthews. I don't know if there's any Dave Matthews fans out there, but Dave does a lot of weird patterns, weird guitar shapes, and then singing against them at the same time. And so that was another way that I kind of got myself out of doing stuff that I see other people doing, because I don't really have the hands to be like a shredder. Maybe if I dedicated my life to that, I could do that. But I found my sound for me in like playing weird things that I could then sing against, and that would maybe be hard for other people to do. Yeah.
Um, I apologize. There's a lot of activity going on in my house, so if we're hearing some of
Hi,
the
Mobley
noise.
household.
um, yeah, my wife has been a little bit under the weather. She's been going through some
Oh,
things right now, and so
I feel
um,
better.
I have my sister-in-law here, and it's just a lot of different things going on. So I apologize for all of that.
No problem.
And so this is going to be, I think, this is going to be the last question for tonight. You're speaking to the world. What do you want them to know?
Love these giant open-ended questions. I'm speaking to the world. What do I want them to know? Please love each other. And please love yourselves. Um, that's what I would say to the world, especially right now. I was so deeply moved by Zelensky's statement at the Grammys. I don't know if you guys watched the Grammys last weekend, but I everyone in my house sort of started bawling when he said, war, what is more opposite than music? And that just felt like, oh my God, that's the definition of war, or the definition of music is that those are the opposites. It's like, people think love and hate are opposites, and I think it's more like love and fear are opposites. So maybe war and music are opposites. So I would say, yeah, please love each other. Please love yourselves, and please give yourself the opportunity to find something that makes your heart sing, and then give yourself the chance to try to figure out whatever weird way you can make that what you get to spend your time on. As I think, for however long we're here, any minutes that you're not doing that are they're not wasted, but they're maybe not as juicy as the minutes when you're doing the thing that you love. So yeah.
So we have a few comments from Richard Bird.
Okay.
Great wisdom from Daria.
Thank you, sir.
For everyone tonight.
Thank you.
Love, love, love. All we need is love. And that's also from Richard. Thank you, Richard, for your comments. William Bill Thompson, Daria is in the house. Love that song. Beautiful, Daria. Beautiful job. Beautiful job. Thank you so much. Over here we have
Tony's like a pilot with like multiple screens. He's like in a spaceship, working all the different feeds.
You are so thrilling. Thank you so much, Daria.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So again, Daria, thank you so much. And I am looking forward to part 2.
Yes. We'll give ourselves some time to recover.
Yeah, we'll give you some time.
Okay.
And but thank you again so much for tonight, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in. We got a little late start today, but I would say that it was worth it was definitely worth the wait. So thank you all so much for being here. And we're going to go through our special thanks. A special thanks to Kimberly Mobley, Ron Mobley, Global Family and Friends, Alex Lindsay, Office Hour members, DVE Store, Liminal Entertainment Technologies, Byte High, Video 360, ApprovedForLoan.com, Cloud Bedrock LLC, Ken Jordan, Jonas Dattel, Aaron Huslich, Cherik Cheetah, David Brady, Marcus Lee Folk, Richard Lavery, Chris Fenwick, Manolo Lozano, Jeffrey Powers, Bo Cordell, Mickey McAture, Hasmak Geiger, Doug Moeller, Laura Thompson, Brian Shan, Dennis Champion Walker, Roscoe Jones, George Butters, Joshua Menden, Conversation with Tony Mobley, producer, Clarlock Miguel Lopez Waterman. And thank you all so much for being with us tonight. Special thanks to Miss Daria Musk, a music artist, content creator, producer, video maker, a wonderful person, a very patient person. Thank you for your great work. And Conversations with Tony Mobley will resume next week with Mr. Keenan Campbell, who shares a dramatic event that happened in his life. And also he's going to talk about the Office Hour Space Project. And so we're going to have him on next Wednesday. And so again, I want to thank everyone so much for being a part of this conversation with Tony Mobley. And we will have upcoming conversations on mental health, filmmakers, musicians, and other creators. We have interesting conversations with interesting people. And who's interesting people? Everybody's interesting people. And so we will see you all next week. Thank you again, Daria Musk. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks,
and
guys.
We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Good night. Bye, everyone.